Alright everybody, it's time for another ranking video. I've reviewed all 7 Tremors movies, and I will leave a link to the playlist so you can check out all those reviews, and you'll get more of my thoughts on these movies in those, because I'm not going to elaborate too much in here. I'm just going to give a quick couple of little thoughts on each film and move on. Don't want to waste anyone's time. Let's just get this over with. This was a first viewing for all of them except for the first one. I grew up on the first one, never checked out the sequels because I just didn't want to. Alright, so yeah, I've always been a fan of the first one, so this was a fun experience checking these out for the first time. I enjoyed a couple of them more than I thought I would, and really hated a couple of them. Not hate, but was really bored with a couple of them and just disappointed. And what were those? You're about to find out, because they're at the bottom. We're going to do this worst to best, least favorite to most favorite. My least favorite one is the first one I reviewed, not part 1, but part 7, Shrieker Island, my most disliked video on YouTube because I didn't like it. Well, you know what? I still don't like it, and your dislikes aren't going to make the video go away, and they're not going to change my opinion. This movie is just not good to me. The comedy was all flat. There's a lot of meta humor that just did not work for me. I hate John Heder. I don't find any of his comedy ever to be funny. Napoleon Dynamite, fucking hate that movie, and he's not the only reason why I hate this movie. Just the comedy, what they do to Bert, and how that's done. Like, if they did it in a better way, I'd appreciate it. I would respect it more. But it's just done for shock's sake, and it's done so poorly. And then you get just terrible human antagonists that you don't need. Cliche, bad guys in every movie like this. Tons of bad CGI monsters when this franchise was built on cool practical effect Graboids. Why would you deviate from that so far and start being lazy and using so much goddamn CGI? It's annoying. Quit with it, Hollywood. Go back to practicals, because that's what us horror fans want. Number 6, we'll go to Tremors 5. This is the one that started the whole father-son thing. We got Jamie Kennedy in here as Travis, and I just didn't really care about them together in this movie. I thought that it was done better in part 6. Just all their back and forth, their chemistry in this movie, it just wasn't landing for me. I didn't care. It wasn't engaging. The story was the same thing as all the other ones. It's a very redundant franchise, kind of like a lot of franchises, but this one very much so redundant. It's always the same story. We gotta hire Bert, because Bert's the only guy capable of killing Graboids for some reason. And they go to Africa in this one, and I didn't care for this new setting. I didn't care for the love triangle that they threw in here that really went nowhere in the end. They just steal shots from Jurassic Park. They jump the shark in the third act with the lightning thing. It's just a bad movie. I was bored with it, so that's why it's number 6. Number 5, we'll go to Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. They take it back to the town of the first one, which was cool. This is when Bert is he's the official star of the show now. It's not Val and Earl or just Earl. This one, Bert is now taking the reins. He's in control. It's his franchise now. And they introduced the Ass Blasters, which is my least favorite Graboid type monster of them all. It looks awful. It looks like a goddamn PlayStation cartoon at times, like a video game. It's very bad. The CGI, the whole concept of the Ass Blasters, just what a dumb concept. Like, they dialed up the comedy in this one a little too far. I did like the concept, though, of like the town of Perfection being like a tourist site. People go there for like Universal Studio tour rides, kind of like Jaws, all those rides at Universal Studios. They have like this whole like fake thing set up there, which I thought was cool. I like that character, Jack, I think, or whatever his name was. So I liked all that stuff, all the comic books and the arcade stuff. That was cool, but just very bad CGI and some bad acting from some of the side characters, and overall, just kind of a big dip in quality. Number 4, we'll go to Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell. I guess it's not called 6. They dropped the number this time. We get some of the hottest scientists ever on film. So many beautiful women in this movie to look at. Lots of good humor in this one that actually kind of landed for me. We get Jamie Kennedy back as the son, and I actually like his chemistry with his father in this one a lot better. Their dialogue, their back and forth. I like that he actually kind of becomes Bert in the end. He puts on the cap. He is now Bert Jr., and I like some of the kills in here. They're kind of gory in the opening. There's a lot of limbs thrown everywhere. So this one pushes the PG-13 rating the most out of them all. I like that this one introduced a new setting now. It's finally it's not in the desert no more, or Africa or Argentina. It's in the Arctic Circle, I think. It's like the North Pole. I don't know where exactly. It's somewhere in Canada, maybe. But yeah, it's in a snowy environment, which I like that to change the pace, although there wasn't a whole lot of snow, but I'll take it. Number 3, we'll go to Tremors 4. This one goes back in time to the late 1800s, and we see a whole different type of Bert, his ancestor. He's the complete polar opposite of his current self. He's not a gunslinger. He doesn't really know guns. He doesn't own them. He has people who use guns for him. He's the rich asshole who's had everything handed to him his whole life. And I like seeing that different side of his character, although it's not the same exact character, but it is, because it's the same actor. He looks just like him, but he's playing his ancestor. But it's nice to see that different side of that character, and I like some of the practicals in here. They finally bring it back to just the Graboids. It's not about the Shriekers or the Ass Blasters no more. It's just the Graboids, back to basics, back to perfection, the origin of the city and the Chang store. I like all of that. It is a little, cheap quality. It doesn't look that good. It's definitely straight to DVD quality, but I still enjoyed it. I had a fun time. It wasn't boring, and it didn't have shitty CGI throughout the whole thing. Number 2, we'll go to Tremors 2. This one introduces the Shriekers, and I love the look of them. I don't know why they didn't use them again. They barely use them in 3, and then they're just gone for the rest of the franchise. You don't see them in 4, you don't see them in 5, 6, or 7. 7, I think you do, but that's it. Like 2, and then they're like never seen again for some reason. But yeah, a lot of the practical work with the Shriekers in here was cool. So it's nice that now you have the threat below ground and above ground now. So I like that added element of danger. And Bert is a lot better in this movie than he was in part 1. This is when he starts showing like his potential for being a lead in the future. I like that they brought back Earl, and I don't really like his new Val friend in here. Grady or Brady. Wasn't crazy about him, but still a fast-paced movie that I was never bored with. Enjoyed it. Not as good as the first one, obviously, but this is a good sequel. So if you're gonna watch any sequel in the franchise after part 1, I would watch part 2. Number 1, my favorite Tremors movie, the one I grew up on, and easily the best. Whether you're a kid or an adult, I think you can agree that the best one is part 1, because it's just fantastic. The chemistry and bond between Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, Earl and Val, is hilarious and awesome in this movie. The rock, paper, scissors game, all practical effects. The look of the Graboid is unique. I love the way it is in this movie. I just wish they would have kept that throughout. And it's just got a great tone to it. Also, it's a blend of horror and comedy. There's a lot of on-screen kills in here. It's not bloody or anything, but I was surprised to see how many people were dying left and right in this movie. You see decapitated heads on the ground, dead people up on towers. It's just a fun movie. There's all kinds of cheesy, goofy moments, and just a fun, over-the-top performance by Kevin Bacon when he's freaking out. Love him in this film. Love the characters, and it's just the best Tremors movie in my mind. So Tremors is my number 1, without a doubt. So what is your Tremors ranking? Put your ranking in the comments below. And as always, this is an opinion. Don't get offended. Grow up. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you see, you can hit this like button, and you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.